In this tutorial, we're gonna talk about basic data types in Kotlin. These data types are divided into 5 different groups, which are numbers, characters, strings, booleans, and arrays that we'll discuss separately in the next video. Let's start with numbers, which can be divided into 2 groups, integers and decimal numbers. For integer, we have byte, which takes 1 byte of memory, and in 1 byte we can store values from -128 to 127. Next, we have short, which takes 2 bytes, and we can store a number between -32,768 and 32,767. Next, we have int. Int takes 4 bytes of memory and allows us to store a value approximately from -2 billion to 2 billion. Then we have long, which takes 8 bytes and can store even larger numbers. In the second group of numerical data types, we have float and double to store decimal numbers. Float takes 4 bytes and double takes 8 bytes. Using float, we can store numbers with maximum 7 decimal digits, and using double, we can store numbers with maximum 15 decimal digits. After the number data types, we have the char for storing a single character like A, B, C, and etc. Also, we have the string data type to store a sequence of characters like a word or a sentence in the memory. And finally, we have the boolean data type for storing boolean values, which can be true or false, just like yes or no in English. Now let's take a look at a few examples. Imagine we want to store the user's age, so I create a variable named age with type byte and give it 30. I chose byte because it just takes 1 byte of the memory, and we can store a number up to 127, which is suitable for storing someone's age. If we want to store a number that's bigger than 127 and smaller than 32,767, we can use the short data type. For example, to store the resolution of a monitor, I create a variable named resolution with type short and give it 5000. Notice that for declaring our variables, I'm using the val keyword because later we don't want to change their values. In the next example, if we want to store the number of likes in a YouTube video, we can use the int data type. So I create a variable named num of like with type int and give it 1 million. Notice that I'm following the camel case convention for naming our variables. In the next example, if we want to store a bigger number, for example the world population, which is about 8 billion, we must use the long data type. So I create another variable named population with type long and give it 8 billion. In Kotlin, when we have a big number like this, to make it more readable, we can use an underscore to separate every 3 digits. In the next example, if we want to store decimal point numbers, we must use double or float data types. For a number with a small number of decimal places, like the price of a product, we can use float data type. So I write val price float equals 9.5. But IntelliJ is complaining here. This is because every time we write a decimal number, by default Kotlin considers it as a double. So to convert it to float, we must add f at the end of the number. In the next example, to store a value with a significant number of decimal places, we must use the double data type. So I create a variable named big decimal with type double and give it a number with many decimal digits like this. Next, if we want to store a character in the memory, we must use the char data type. So I create a variable named letter with type char and assign a to it. Note that we must surround characters with single quotes like this. And if we want to store a text, we must use the string data type. So I create a variable named name with type string and give it some value. Note that we must surround our text with double quotes like this. And finally, to declare a boolean variable, we write val is valid, boolean. It can be true or false. Booleans are usable in conditional statements, which we'll learn in upcoming tutorials. Until now, we learned how to declare variables with different data types in Kotlin. But before finishing this lesson, I want to tell you, when declaring a variable, most of the times it's not necessary to specify the type of the variable explicitly. Indeed, the compiler can understand the type of a variable from the variable's initial value. So, except for the age and resolution, which are byte and short, we can remove the type of our variables. Let's do it. Something that I want you to know is that by default, by writing an integer number, if it is in the range of the int data type, Kotlin considers its type as int. So to convert it to long, we must add an L at the end of the number. For example, if I want to change the type of the num of like to long, I can add an L at the end of the 1 million. Also, by default, Kotlin considers double as the type of the decimal numbers. So to create a float type, we must add an F at the end of the number, like what we did here. This is all for this topic, and in the next lesson I'll talk about arrays in Kotlin. Please hit the subscribe and bell buttons so you'll be notified for every new video release. Also, please don't forget to like this video or send me your comments if you need further help.